rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
All right, welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Guys, we got a bang-up show for you today. Alvin Bragg has just opened up a can of whoop ass. We're going to be talking about that. I've got several stories that I want to share with you, and the mainstream media has been ignoring major stories this week. We're all distracted by Trump, but the mainstream media has been ignoring major stories this week that shows and proves that America is on the decline, not just domestically, but globally under the leadership of Joe Biden. But let me tell you something. Again, Alvin Bragg has opened up a can of whoop ass. No one is above the law. All right, we'll see about that. Hillary Clinton, James Clapper, John Brennan, Eric Holder, James Comey, Bill Clinton. Guys, this isn't about tit for tat. This is about exacting justice. Again, this Alvin Bragg has opened up a Pandora's box. We're talking about that next on the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please stay tuned for some quick program messaging. All right, guys, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. I want to talk to you quickly about a new movie that we're helping to support at salemnow.com entitled Pardoned by Grace. Listen, some of the things are that we like to do, and one of the reasons I love being a part of the Salem Media Group, or the Salem Radio Network team, if you will, is one of the things that we do is we bring you alternatives to what the mainstream media is bringing you, and also mainstream, what Hollywood is bringing you. So here's an opportunity to fight back against the left by simply watching and sharing a movie entitled Pardoned by Grace. So we want to make sure that we entertain you. We want to make sure that we inform you. This is one of the ways in which we can do that. This Easter weekend will be a great weekend to sit down with your family and watch the new movie on salemnow.com entitled Pardoned by Grace. So from the makers of Graham Family Films comes a powerful and inspiring true story that will touch your heart and renew your faith. Introducing Pardoned by Grace, the incredible journey of Scott Heiberger, played by Joey Lawrence. I'm sure you guys remember Joey Lawrence. Scott Heiberger was a convicted criminal turned prison minister who defies all odds and receives an unlikely pardon to continue his ministry. All right, I love that. Featuring Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Michael W. Smith as Heiberger's pastor, Pardoned by Grace showcases the transformative power of redemption and the boundless reach of God's love. Watch Pardoned by Grace on Salem Now, and when you purchase a copy at salemnow.com, a DVD will be donated to Scott Heiberger's nonprofit prison organization. Behind the Wire Ministries is what it's called, that provides hope and support to the incarcerated. Man, I love this. Together, we can share the power of faith and forgiveness with those who need it most. So visit salemnow.com to purchase your DVD and donate to this incredible cause today. All right, Pardoned by Grace, salemnow.com. This is a perfect Easter watch, if you will. All right, now I want to get into the nitty gritty of what's happened. And guys, I want you to understand that I don't want to minimize what's happening with Trump. I think the rule of law is dead in America. I will say this, though. As long as patriots are alive, America is not dead. As long as you're willing to fight for this country, America is not dead. And I'm willing to fight for this country. And I know you're willing to fight for this country. We cannot give up on this country. This is still the greatest piece of land, the greatest country that God has ever given man. And I believe that we have an ordained duty, if you will, to make sure we restore the Constitution, to make sure we restore America's Judeo-Christian value system. I got a lot of videos lined up for you today. So Gabe is going to be working behind the scenes because we're going to have to do a lot of start and stops, but please pay attention. I'm going to be commenting in between the videos. Guys, please, we need your help. I need you to share this podcast with other people, with your friends, family, neighbors. I need you to share this podcast. That's the only way that we're going to get the word out beyond social media is by you and word of mouth. All right. So please share this podcast. You can find it anywhere you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Carl Jackson Show on YouTube. We're also on Rumble, The Carl Jackson Show. I know some people hate YouTube, but listen, guys, we have to build the numbers here. We can do it with your help. You'll get the podcast right into your inbox if you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but we would certainly appreciate that. Follow us on social media, The Carl Jackson Show. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Getter. You can follow me anywhere that I'm at The Carl Jackson Show. Now, without any further ado, I do want to play this clip of Donald Trump. Gabe has gotten it ready here. I also want to, I got to tell you guys, the best breakdown of the evening of what has transpired actually happened on Laura Ingram's show. So there's a couple of clips I'm going to play of her. She used to be a white collar criminal defense attorney. I think she broke down the case really well, but she also brought on the former FEC director, a guy by the name of Bradley Smith, that in my opinion gave the clearest reason why Trump shouldn't be prosecuted over this silly falsifying business record. I mean, it's so convoluted. It's so silly. It's so stupid that even Democrats are just saying, oh my God, this was a big letdown. 34 counts given to Trump. It's basically the same charge over and over and over and over again if you read the indictment. And there's no, listen, the only way they can upgrade it, or Alvin Bragg could upgrade the charge from a misdemeanor to a felony, there had to be intent of some type of second crime, the second felonious crime, I believe. That felonious crime was not even mentioned in the indictment. This fool is making up the rules as he goes to establish a name for himself, and he is destroying the American justice system. He's destroying the American justice system. This guy, this guy's a complete and utter idiot. There's no doubt in my mind that the only reason Alvin Bragg was able to get into Harvard Law School is because it had to be due to affirmative action. I'm not saying this to knock a brother in that way, but it had to be. That guy is not the sharpest tool in the shed. All right, let's be honest about it. And he's desperate. He's desperate to build a name for himself. Now, having said all that, we got a lot to get to. So, Gabe, let's go ahead and roll the tape of Trump. Again, if you will, just be ready, Gabe. I'm going to have to interject for the sake of copyright infringement. But here we go. This is Donald Trump last night and his speech responding to what had transpired yesterday, the Trump arraignment.
Beginning with the radical left, George Soros-backed prosecutor Alvin Bragg of New York, who campaigned on the fact that he would get President Trump. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. This is a guy campaigning. He wanted to get President Trump at any cost, and this before he knew anything about me, didn't know a thing about me. He was campaigning. As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime and that it should never have been brought. Never have been brought. Everybody. But now they have really stepped up their efforts by indicting the 45th president of the United States, who received 75 million votes, which is more than any sitting president in the history of our country. And in the wings, they've got a local racist Democrat district attorney in Atlanta who is doing everything in her power to indict me over an absolutely perfect phone call, even more perfect than the one I made with the president of Ukraine. Remember, I kept saying, that's a perfect call. This one was more perfect. Nobody said, sir, you shouldn't say that. Many people on the phone were hung up in disgust because of something I inappropriately said, because nothing was said wrong. In fact, at the end of the call, we agreed to continue our conversation.
Let me stop it right there, Gabe. Let's keep our fingers there. Okay. So what Trump is talking about is this another rogue prosecutor that's in Fulton County. and they want to go after him. And Democrats think this is the way in which they can get Trump, because everything is about getting Trump, right? They want to slice this guy up into 1,000 pieces. They want him. What I believe the left wants is they want Donald Trump to be the nominee. All right. And so they actually think this is what the left believes. All right. They believe that what they can do is elevate Donald Trump to win the nomination. Believe it or not, I know it sounds sick. I know it sounds twisted, but this is exactly what the left is thinking. And I don't think it's going to work, but I just want you to know this is what the left is thinking. They think, listen, here's what's going to happen. It's exactly what is happening. This information, all of this stuff against Trump, this get Trump mentality is actually emboldening Donald Trump. It's actually emboldening Donald Trump's most ardent supporters. And now all of us are sitting here like, all right, you know what? Screw it. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. We're going to go ahead and scrap. This is going to be a battle. Metaphorically speaking, this is going to be a battle. So the goal is, okay, from the left is to get Trump to become the nominee. They're going to slice him up by 1,000 cuts, and then they don't believe he's going to be able to win because he's going to be so battered. Independents, moderates, rhinos, the like, they're going to turn away from Trump. They're going to be so disgusted. But I'm going to read to you 7 headlines. I'm not going to be able to get to them today. I am going to delve into them tomorrow, however, on the podcast. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm going to go even deeper when I sit in for Dennis Prager tomorrow on his show. So I look forward to that. I hope you do, or I hope you will, I should say, as well. All right, but the goal is to bloody Trump up. So he's talking about this another rogue prosecutor that's in Fulton County, and Trump was on a call with Brad Raffensperger, in Atlanta or in Georgia. All right, the Secretary of State there, and he's talking about the 2020 election and all the fraud and all the mail-in ballots, and he's telling Brad Raffensperger to go out and find other ballots. Meaning not go out and create ballots, not go out and in context. If you get the transcript, this is in the context of the entire transcript. But of course, the mainstream media isn't going to talk about that. But in the entire context of the transcript, Trump isn't asking Raffensperger to cheat, and Raffensperger knows it. You know, that's why he's starting to back away. He started to back away and change his tune. There was a tit for tat between him and Trump. It seems to be mostly settled because a lot of people in Georgia were frankly PO'd at the way that Brad Raffensperger handled this, and they blamed him in part, for losing the senatorial races. They got 2 left-wing radicals as the senators of Georgia. That makes no sense whatsoever. But Brad Raffensperger got some heat from that. Trump did as well, but Raffensperger did. But what Trump was telling Raffensperger, not go out and cheat, not go out and make ballots. He was just saying there are so many ballots out there. We can validate that we won through signature verification. Go out and find the ballots. I know we won. It's as simple as that. Now, let's go ahead and return to Trump's statement last night, or his speech last night, after the dumb behind. Listen, I'm telling you, Alvin Bragg has opened up a can of whoop ass that I don't even think he comprehends. These people live in a bubble. Let's go back to the video. Por favor, Gabe.
Later time, many people on the phone, including lots of lawyers. Nobody found anything wrong with that perfect call until a book promotion tour. Many months later, all of a sudden they say, I remember Trump making a call. Let's look at that. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately.
This is election interference. This is election interference. They're trying to prosecute Donald Trump over a non-disclosure agreement, which, by the way, there's even a written letter by Stormy Daniels saying that she never had the affair with Trump. There's the attorney of former attorney of Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, that says, wait a minute, Michael Cohen is lying. He told me that there was never anything there. Trump didn't even know about the payment. Essentially, he got it. Michael Cohen took out a HELOC loan on his home in order to pay off Stormy Daniels, and he just billed Trump for legal fees. So it didn't have anything to do with Trump campaign and all of this kind of nonsense. But I'm telling you, these people have opened up a can of whoop ass. All right, let's go ahead here, Gabe.
And this is where we are right now. I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it. With all of this being said, and with a very dark cloud over our beloved country, I have no doubt, nevertheless, that we will make America great again. Thank you very much.
All right. So that is, I obviously, I think it was a 25-minute speech. You got some of the highlights of Donald Trump's speech and his reaction to the Trump indictment, the arraignment, which is absolutely crazy. I am telling you, once again, these people have opened up a can of whoop behind. Before we go to the next video, there have been some fabulous writers, David Harsanyi at The Federalist, Margot Cleveland at The Federalist, that have been offering and that have been writing about just the disaster that this is. And I want to get to those. In just a second. And also, I just want to give you some headlines that are out there and just quickly opine on those headlines because I want to get back into the Jackson's 5. I don't want this story of Donald Trump being unfairly prosecuted. This whole hoax prosecution. This is persecution. This is not a prosecution. All right. So I want to get back to that, but I want to make sure I talk to you guys about some of the headlines, because Biden this week has been a disaster, or it would have been a disaster for Biden if these headlines were making it out to the mainstream media. They are not. So I want to talk about some of those. But before I do want to remind you guys of our sponsor, MyPillow, and the fabulous deal that is available with the new MyPillow 2.0s. Yes, you can get buy one, get one free. Man, I love some free stuff. All right, buy one, get one free, MyPillow 2.0. You guys know Mike Lindell and the fabulous company that he's created, MyPillow, mypillow.com. All right, you can click on the radio listener square. My papers are flying everywhere. You can click on the radio listener square here at mypillow.com. Enter my name, Carl, to take advantage of the buy one, get one free offer for the MyPillow 2.0. CARL is how you spell my name. The number to call if you prefer to do that, 800-858-0263. So the MyPillow 2.0 has the same patented feel as the original MyPillow, but now it has this outer layer, this fabric that dissipates heat. So it's softer, it's smoother, and cooler to the touch when you put your head on it to get a good night's rest. So again, MyPillow. MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square at the top of the page, enter my name, Carl, CARL, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. Also, if you browse the website, there's all types of stuff available there. And I mean, there are discounts up to, I believe, 70% off if you use my name. All right. So exclusive to my listeners, just use my name or call in 800-858-0263. You use my name there as well. But mypillow.com, providing American jobs, American manufacturing, American products. We love mypillow.com. I hope you'll take advantage of the deal. MyPillow 2.0. Okay. So one of the things that the left loves to say, is no one is above the law. No one is above the law. That's what they say all the time. No one is above the law. So we got to get Trump because no one is above the law. And see, they don't talk about the dirt on their side. We know this, right? You can tune in to Newsmax, Fox News, or whatever. You can tune into a podcast like mine, and you'll find out the dirt from the left and you'll find out the dirt from the right, because I can't stand rhinos myself. All right. So you'll find that out. But if you tune in, or if you just follow the left-wing mainstream media, they don't even talk about stuff. MSNBC, Rachel Maddow was talking about, she mentioned last night how they weren't even going to pan over to listen to Trump's speech because it's the same old campaign rhetoric, which it was not. This guy was indicting Alvin Bragg himself and the corrupt, rogue, Soros-backed prosecutors that these people are. But of course, MSNBC doesn't want their audience to hear a different point of view because they want their audience to be one-sided. They want their audience to be brainwashed. But no one is above the law. That's what the left tells us all the time. No one is above the law. And what they mean by that is no Republican is above the law, even if they have to create a separate law or a fake behind law like Alvin Bragg did. But Alvin Bragg does not realize, in trying to seek his own self-aggrandizement and trying to promote his own name and get his name out in the ether, he does not realize how much he has just screwed the Democrat Party. Now, I must admit, this is incumbent upon Republicans having some balls and courage and making sure that they go after the left. And I'm not talking about tit for tat. I'm talking about these fools on the left that actually break the law. All right, if we live in a banana republic now, fair game. The only way the left is going to change their behavior, listen to me, guys, the only way the bullies back down is when you punch them in the mouth. Everyone knows that. When they realize that they've just opened up a can of whoop ass, when they realize that they've messed with the wrong person, that is the only way. See, we're sitting here as Republicans and we're playing by the Constitution. No, that's why I say that I'm a constitutional restorationist. We live in a post-constitution of constitutional America. We live in a post-Christian America, a post-Judeo-Christian America. That stuff is gone. I say America is not dead because I do believe there's enough patriots. There's more of us than there are them to be able to restore our constitutional principles. But we've got to get tough about it. Now, back to this issue. No one is above the law. That's what the left says. Apparently James Clapper must be above the law, right? Was he the former FBI director? James Clapper, he lied under oath to Congress about spying on the American people. He seems to be above the law. What about former CIA head John Brennan, who lied about a domestic spying operation on Senate staffers? Hat tip to David Harsanyi of the Federalist. What about Eric Holder? Now, unlike Trump advisor Peter Navarro, Obama's former attorney general Eric Holder was never going to be handcuffed and thrown into prison. He ignored a congressional subpoena. Remember Operation Fast and Furious? Remember that scandal as well, where Obama and Eric Holder were literally running guns across the border, hoping to get those guns in the hands of Mexican cartels. So when a crime occurred, when a body popped up, if a gun was found with an American serial number, they could use that crime as a reason to undermine the Second Amendment in the United States. So Eric Holder is above the law. So far, James Clapper, John Brennan, Eric Holder are above the law. What about Hillary Clinton? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Hillary Clinton is above the law. You guys remember Trump's 2016 opponent, then Secretary of State. She set up a private server in her home. Why? To circumvent transparency surrounding her slush fund foundation. The Clinton Foundation, 110 emails that contained marked classified information. 36 of those emails contained secret information. 8 of those emails contained top secret information. Every one of those instances were potentially felonious. Nothing. Crickets. So Hillary Clinton is above the law. And then we learned all of this from James Comey. James Comey, who sicked the FBI on former President Donald Trump. He's above the law, too, but he was then the FBI director. But he noted this about Hillary Clinton, and I quote, Hillary had been, quote, extremely careless, close quote, in conducting her business. So he didn't recommend charges for her. He claimed the state couldn't prove Clinton's intent, even though gross negligence, not intent, was the only standard he needed. Gross negligence. That was all he needed. But see, Hillary Clinton was above the law to James Comey. Gross negligence and extreme carelessness, they are the same thing. So Comey concocted a new standard for Hillary Clinton. Why? Because Hillary Clinton is above the law. Now, when Hillary's husband, Bill Clinton, he's also above the law. He perjured himself under oath, but Democrats argued that it was these purists, these conservatives that were only pursuing Bill Clinton or going after him because over some trumped up charges of sex, right? So using that logic, all right, if that's true, so using that logic, if Trump's non-disclosure agreement with Stormy Daniels is true, and there's no evidence that it is, frankly. But if it is true, using that logic, okay, well, Trump's issue here is also about sex. So why is Bill Clinton above the law, but Trump isn't? I mean, this stuff is astounding to me. What about Nancy Pelosi? Remember Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, the freaking drunk. All right, so Nancy Pelosi and her husband are above the law, insider trading, right? These people have become millionaires tens of times over due to insider trading. But beyond that, remember what she said last week? She said, everyone, and I'm highlighting it as I go, everyone has the right to a trial to prove innocence. Really? Everyone has the right to a trial to prove innocent? Isn't it innocent until proven guilty? Chick is so un-American, but this is the Democrat Party today. And by everyone, what she means is Republicans. Democrats are innocent until proven guilty. Republicans are guilty. That's how the left uses. This is what you have to know. And then if you think this authoritarian formulation is an accident, David Harsanyi reminds us that you haven't been paying attention to Democrats. Remember the smearing of Brett Kavanaugh, all the lies that took place. Brett Kavanaugh is this gang rapist, totally destroyed his reputation, right? Mazie Hirono, that senator, was asked whether the then nominee deserved the, quote, same presumption of innocence as anyone else in America. After all, this wasn't any judicial disagreement, but about alleged criminal behavior. David Harsanyi writes, do you remember what she said? She said, Mazie Hirono said, and I quote, I put his denial in the context of everything that I know about him in terms of how he approaches his case. Excuse me. Do you know what she just said? She just said, if you're a conservative, and Harsanyi points this out very well. If you're a conservative, you're evil. Your politics are evil, and so you deserve what you get. You deserve unfair treatment under the law. That's what Mazie Hirono was saying. What about Lois Lerner? Lois Lerner, former IRS head, she's above the law. Remember how she targeted Tea Party supporters back in the day? Made it extremely difficult for the Tea Party to get out off the ground, and even started investigating Tea Party members, intimidating Tea Party members, so that Barack Obama was able to win the 2012 presidential election, assisted by Mitt Romney, who totally caved in the last couple of what do you call those things? Debates. But so people are above the law. They just all happen to be Democrat. So for Republicans, listen to me. The only way to stop this, and I'm not talking about making up some charges and some like Alvin Bragg has done. No, we don't have to disrupt the judicial system. We just have to follow it. And we have to stick to these fools like stink on boo-boo and go after them, not based upon revenge, based upon the law. There is no more playing Mr. Nice Guy. That is over. It is time for us to open up our own freaking can of Democrat whoop-ass. It is time. They do not. These people are like the freaking Islamo-fascists in the Middle East. And I'm not comparing them to the Islamo-fascists. I'm at least in a certain sense. They understand power. This is all the left understands: power. They get into office. They use their political power. We get into office as Republicans, and too often, not all the time, but too often, we shrink back. We're so concerned about what everyone else says. Instead of taking the heat for the moment, changing the culture for the better, restoring our constitutional principles, because you know what happens? Once people get used to freedom, guess what? They start to like it. But in the same way, if people get used to big government and dependency, they start to like it. So Republicans have to have the courage to start going after the left. It's as simple as that. Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland has weaponized the DOJ against parents. Weaponized the DOJ against Supreme Court members. He allowed these protesters to parade and protest in front of the Supreme Court justice's house in order to shape their opinion or their view or change their minds on the I forget the name of the court here, the court case that flipped Roe v. Wade. That was what they were trying to do. Nothing. So Merrick Garland, he's above the law. Man, guys, realize what has happened. Alvin Bragg's office. And by the way, they had to. Did you guys know this? You guys hear about this? They had to erase all of their Twitter accounts. His office did, because they are so left-wing, all of them, left-wing kooks. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious that they're going after Trump for political purpose. Just a bunch of freaking left-wing kooks. So they had to erase their good Lord, their social media accounts, their Twitter accounts. But think about this. This DA's office, they upped a misdemeanor charge. And by the way, there's no second charge on the indictment. Laura Ingraham will explain this shortly to us. So they upped that charge. Meanwhile, they're letting people get away with trespassing, not paying for public transportation. They're letting people that resist arrest. Those will be the most dangerous criminals. Those who resist arrest get away with craziness. Prostitution, crime is up nearly 30% under Alvin Bragg. I'm talking about violent crime is up. Rape, burglary, homicide, up nearly 30%. And this fool is worried about getting Trump. Consider this. We went from this big Russia collusion hoax to, I think Trump may have put, or his attorney or his accountant, whatever, may have put a business record payment in the wrong column of our ledger. You understand? From Russia collusion hoax to misdemeanor, nothing, a payment snafu, a non-disclosure agreement, a parking ticket. All of these years, consider this, all of these years and all of the resources that have been spent trying to get this man, and you come up with something that's already several years old because they have nothing on him. So Republicans, we got to play the same game, except we're not going to make up a crime. We just need to go after them for their crimes. Harry Reid, remember Harry Reid? See, they don't like it. When Harry Reid, what he did essentially with the filibuster is he basically destroyed the filibuster. Here's what it reads in Harsani's piece. Everyone knows, of course, what's going to happen when or if Republicans return the favor. It's going to be cries of fascism. You have to remember that. That's what's going to happen. When we do it, it's fascism. It doesn't matter. We need to do it anyway because the left doesn't even know what fascism is. When Harry Reid blew up the judicial filibuster, it was to preserve the republic. All right, so that's the language they use for the left. When Harry Reid does it, when he blows up the filibuster, a judicial filibuster anyway, it is to preserve the republic, to save democracy, if you will. When Republicans did it, however, they were power-hungry partisans. And we know the media is going to play this tune because they're in the pockets of the Democrat Party. When Democrats throw Congress off when Democrats throw congressmen off of subcommittees, they do it for democracy. But you throw like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they did it for democracy. But when Republicans follow suits, we're bigots. You see how this works? We cannot play their game. The only thing these people understand is force. When Governor Ron DeSantis went after Disney, whatever you feel about that, I know things could have turned out better, but he had the courage to at least do it. All right. So I give him props for that. It's not always going to work out the way that we want, but he goes after Disney and then it's 1933 all over again. But let Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom, he goes after Walgreens in California. And what is it? It's a blow against injustice. You see how this works? Guys, people are above the law. People are above the law. See, Trump is an easy target, as Arsani writes. And the next target, he assures us, will be a Republican who is even worse than Trump. If Trump isn't the nominee, if it's a DeSantis, if it's a Vivek Ramaswamy, if it's something else, rest assured that everyone Republicans put up are going to be worse than Trump. Even a rhino, even a Democrat like Asa Hutchinson, who stands no chance. So I don't even talk about him, and I have not, nor will I talk about him. Such a waste of time for him to get into the race. But anyway, that's that. Now, just real quick. Again, Alvin Bragg's indictment on Trump is going to open up a can of whoop ass. A can of a Pandora's box, if you will, is going to be opened up. They are going to rue the day. I don't even know what that means, but I know that it's right in that context. But I've heard it a lot before. But think about this: what about the Clintons and the Bidens? Let's go after them individually. Let's look at them individually, right? This is from Paul Sperry, New York Post. He wrote this: Alvin Bragg's indictment of Donald Trump might open up a Pandora's box. And I'm framing it a can of whoop ass because that's what Republicans need to do. By the way, kudos, real quickly, kudos to the Tennessee GOP state legislature. Kudos to you guys. Well, Carl, what happened in the GOP state legislature? Why are you offering them kudos? Because they're finally starting to get it. After the assassin, after the left-wing radical assassin, the mass murderer that shot up and targeted 6 Christians, released the manifesto, by the way. Where the hell is that manifesto? Release the manifesto. All right. So anyway, after that school was shot up, Christian school was shot up, these nut jobs, these 3 Democrat state representatives egged on rioters in the Tennessee state capitol, wherever they're, forgive me, I don't know if it's Nashville where the state capitol is, but the state capitol, all right, in Tennessee. You had 2 newly elected socialist radicals elected to the House of Representatives, the state House of Representatives in Tennessee, and you had their 2 young black men, and then you had this white leftist liberal chick, because they always, they always want to side with the leftists. All right. It's weird. They always want to be down with the struggle. So you had 3 of them. All of them participated in the riot. They egged the rioters on using bullhorns and etc. Well, you know what the Republican-led GOP state legislature finally, no, I shouldn't say finally, thank God, had the cojones to do? Well, they decided that they were going to suspend them from all of their committee assignments. So now none of them are on committees, and they're going even further. Tomorrow, they're taking up a vote to whether or not to expel them completely from the House of Representatives. And I hope to God it passes. Kick their butts out. These fools incited rioters to come in to the Capitol building and actually caused a riot. Insurrection, anyone? See, Democrats are above the law, but Republicans now are fighting back. That has to happen everywhere. So let's take a look at the Bidens, right? And let's take a look at the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation. All right. So the Clinton Foundation, described by whistleblowers, the Clinton Foundation, which ironically tanked the moment Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump in 2016. It was weird how the business just caved all of a sudden. It was so weird. But the Clinton Foundation, described by whistleblowers as the largest unprosecuted fraud ever, billed in Hillary Clinton, and notice I said whistleblowers, registered it as a tax-exempt charity, but they've used it for their own personal piggy bank. There's a GOP Republican district attorney in Little Rock, Arkansas, by the name of Will Jones. Perhaps he defeated a Soros-backed person that was, last year. All right, so perhaps Will Jones, he might be able to get creative with a tax fraud case, right? So they want to go, they want to open up this Pandora's box. Okay, let's open up our can of whoop ass. Except we're going to use real crimes that the left committed, not some trumped up charges, pun intended, that they're making up, that the left is making up against Donald Trump. All right. So the Clintons did stiffed local coffers of millions in corporate income and other taxes. Hat tip to Paul Sperry. of the New York Post, over the objections of local anti-tax advocates, the Clintons allegedly pressured Little Rock officials to float them close to $20 million in bonds to buy land and construct a building housing the supposedly nonprofit organization. Sorry, my words get mixed up there. Along with the Clinton Presidential Library. All right. Now, whistleblowers again say the Clintons are using tax-exempt donations for personal use, including the former president himself, including private travel. They've denied it, of course, commingling such funds as illegal. Well, let's find out. Let's investigate. Joe Biden, you see what this fool has opened up? This idiot has opened up the can of whoop ass. Okay. All right. That's the way you want to play. Because this is the only way Democrats will get it. Guys, I'm sorry. There is no Mr. Nice Guy anymore. There is no negotiating with leftists. There is no negotiating with communists. We have to defeat them. And yes, I'm sorry. The Democrat Party, as it exists today, there's no moderate, there's no liberal inside of the Democrat Party. They do not exist anymore. That is a radical, revolutionary party, as Victor Davis Hanson explains it. And he's totally right. All right, what about Jim Biden? All right, so in Florida and Tennessee, Jim Biden has defrauded healthcare companies. Other red states that can manufacture indictments against Democrats include Florida and Tennessee, where Joe Biden's brother, Jimmy Biden, got into hot water for allegedly defrauding healthcare companies. He's denied it, but we can investigate it to find out for sure, because we know they're corrupt, right? 150 SARS payments, not registered as federal agents, getting paid from foreign governments. Let's see. Fort Lauderdale-based AmeriCorps Health, or Jim allegedly conned the founder of this AmeriCorps Health into thinking he could be a rainmaker for the business, because of his big name, give them lots of money. He snagged a corner office at the headquarters. He displayed photos of then Vice President Biden and Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama. But instead of bringing in business for AmeriCorps like he promised he would using his name, he shook down AmeriCorps instead. All right. He shook them down for personal loans that he used for repairs on his vacation home in South Florida. Isn't that amazing? Biden allegedly promised his partners at AmeriCorps he could get them a big influx of capital from his and Hunter Biden's Chinese connections. We should investigate that, because no one is above the law, but he used that cash instead to go on a spending spree for himself. His shenanigans left AmeriCorps facilities in such financial distress that at least one of its hospitals, a hospital located in Elwood City, Pennsylvania, had to stop paying workers in 2018. How much money did this fool take from them? Prompting local authorities to open a criminal investigation of its finances, AmeriCorps. What about Jimmy Biden's? Because no one is above the law, right? So if he were so inclined, the local Lawrence County, Pennsylvania district attorney could follow in Bragg's footsteps and open up a grand jury probe on Jimmy Biden. And that's what we should do. Trump is indicted. Biden should be indicted. Is it about revenge? No, I'm sorry. I think this is justice. Honestly, I don't know why these people are allowed to get away with this stuff anyway, right? No one's above the law. I actually believe that. No one's above the law. You got a pair of medical clinics in Tennessee and Alabama have also accused Jimmy Biden of fraud, which he has denied. Yeah. I'm telling you, this fool Alvin Bragg does not know. He doesn't know what he's done. Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch said this: you can be sure there are prosecutors across Florida and Texas right now who are looking for a state law hook into the Biden family. So looking for a law, and we should. It's open season, guys. It's open season. The only way that we're going to restore normalcy in America is once we exact justice against Democrats who have actually committed crimes. It is time for Republicans to stop playing Mr. Nice Guy. It is time to rip it open. I wish we had a, you know how those tennis ball containers sound when you open them up, Gabe? I wish we had that, because it's time to open up that can of whip ass on the Democrats. It's just time to do it. It's time to, or we're never going to get this country back. We're never going to be able to restore it. If we don't restore the rule of law, if we don't restore justice, if we don't restore fairness under the law, equality under the law, not equity, equality under the law, we're in trouble. We won't be able to restore this. So it's time to open up that can of whip ass. Guys, I just want to remind you real quick. Again, this Easter will be a great time to check out the film Pardoned by Grace. So from the makers of Graham Family Films comes a powerful and inspiring true story that will touch your heart and renew your faith. Introducing Pardoned by Grace, the incredible journey of Scott Heiberger, who's played by Joey Lawrence, a convicted criminal turned prison minister who defies all odds and receives an unlikely pardon to continue his ministry. That's such a cool story. Featuring Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter Michael W. Smith as Heiberger's pastor, Pardoned by Grace showcases the transformative power of redemption and the boundless reach of God's love. Watch Pardoned by Grace on Salem Now, and when you purchase a copy at salemnow.com, salemnow.com, a DVD will be donated to Scott Heiberger's nonprofit prison organization called Behind the Wire Ministries. I love that name, providing hope and support to the incarcerated. Together, we can share the power of faith and forgiveness with those who need it most. Visit salemnow.com to purchase your DVD and donate to this incredible cause today. All right. Pardoned by Grace at salemnow.com. Pardoned by Grace. Check it out. This is a fabulous week and weekend to check it out. Pardoned by Grace on salemnow.com. All right. So no one's above the law, guys. No one's above the law. The corrupt Clinton Foundation, the corrupt Biden family, no one's above the law. Let's get to it, Republicans. No one is above the law. All right, before I get into this, these last couple of videos, because I think actually Laura Ingraham and a guest that she had last night did the best job of summing up what we saw, at least on television. There's great columns, by the way, on the Federalist. Margot Cleveland always, I mean, she is just a legal guru at the Federalist. So check out her columns as well. But she also wrote another column. I just want to give you these headlines real quick, because I want you to understand what's happening in the world, the disaster that is the Biden administration. All right. 7 stories, serious news stories, media choked out with the Trump indictment buzz. This is, remember, what's happening with the left is not only do they want to choke out the bad stories that hurt Biden. They want to make sure that they can secure the nomination for Trump. That's what I truly believe. And they believe they can wound him. They think it's going to be a death by 1,000 cuts. But guys, the world and our economy, things are going to get so bad that I think I don't think what the left is trying to do will work. I think that as long as we have our feet on the ground and as long as we win the ballot game, listen to me, we've got to win the early voting and the ballot game. Otherwise, I don't care who's the nominee. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if it's Ron DeSantis. We're not going to win. So let's get that straight. All right. But so we got to win the ballot game wherever it is legal. We got to do it legally. But I want you to hear some stories that the media hasn't talked about real quick. House weaponization hearing, thanks to Margot Cleveland. On Thursday, the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government held a hearing for testimony related to Missouri versus Biden. In that case, Missouri, Louisiana, and others sued the Biden administration and numerous individual defendants for violating the First Amendment through what the plaintiffs called, quote, a vast censorship enterprise. That, in addition to what was happening on Twitter, the news that was breaking with Michael Schellenberger, Matt Taibbi, and the other journalists associated with the Twitter files. Big story. Chinese spy balloon. Well, it turns out that Chinese spy balloon, contrary to what Biden said, the Chinese spy balloon collected a bunch of of our military data. No one's talking about that. This fool from Afghanistan to a Chinese spy balloon. Guys, the world is in chaos with this man in office. The world, not just America, the world is in chaos. Remember, he was going to restore sanity, restore normalcy, all that kind of stuff to the White House. The exact opposite is true. And the media does not want you to pay attention to this. Border crisis goes global. Elite Customs and Border Protection document reveals the Biden administration anticipates further increases in Chinese nationals illegally crossing into the U.S. from Mexico. Unfreaking believable. The Daily Caller reported this. Between October 2022 and February 2023, Border Patrol agents encountered more than 4,200 illegal migrants from China. Unbelievable. Compared to just 1,900 in all of fiscal year 2022. It's insane. OPEC, this is going to hurt us. This is going to hurt us. OPEC is now determining what the cost of oil or what the price of oil is. You understand that? OPEC, the Saudi-led oil cartel's decision on Sunday to cut oil production, bumped up our prices $5 per barrel. With inflation already high, the increase in energy prices is another blow to Americans in the middle class that are suffering under Biden inflation and this economy. Gas prices and everything. Guys, do you understand how many products are made from fossil fuels? So many things, it's unbelievable that you think so many things that you wouldn't be able to live without. Toothpaste, clothing, shoes, all this kind of stuff. Petroleum oils. So all these people going green, they're not going green. They're not going green. They use fossil fuels every single day. Why? So they don't die early, so their teeth don't rot, so they can do their hair, so they can wear glasses, wear clothes, all this stuff. It's a bunch of BS. But now OPEC gets to decide what the oil prices are. Not the United States of America anymore. OPEC does. You think gas prices are bad now? And this fool in the White House, don't remember, he cut our strategic petroleum reserve down in half. Dumping the U.S. dollar, that just scared the crap out of you. The India Ministry of External Affairs announced on Saturday a move away from the U.S. dollar. The India Ministry, oh my God. With the country agreeing with Malaysia to create a special rupee Vostro account to allow the settlement of international trade in Indian rupees. The move away from the U.S. dollar reportedly came to quote, safeguard Indian trade from the impact of the Ukraine crisis. Close quote. These people are watching the dollar collapse and they're like, we need another reserve currency. These people in Washington, D.C. don't know what they're doing. The world recognizes it. And beyond the Putins, beyond the Xi Jinpings that want the dollar to collapse just for nefarious purposes, India is looking at this thing and like, oh, this guy in the White House, it sucks. And the dollar's collapsing. It's maybe time to look for another reserve currency because America's going down. Russia's arrest of an American journalist. That's a big story. I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow on my podcast. I'm calling it the Brittany Griner effect. The moment we gave up Brittany Griner, a WNBA or swapped a WNBA star. I always forget there's a WNBA star Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death, Victor Bout. It was a fait accompli, as they say, that there were going to be more Americans captured. It's just simple. The murder of a Russian blogger, the Sunday evening murder of Vladimir Tatarsky, a Russian military blogger at a cafe in St. Petersburg, is another story given short shrift because of the Trump indictment. While the Russians are blaming Ukraine for Tatarsky's murder, a Ukrainian presidential advisor called the bombing an internal political fight, close quote, claiming Tatarsky was killed because he had criticized aspects of the Russian military operations in Ukraine. Insane. Those are just some of the stories. Let me just read quickly. I know Gabe is like, oh my God, can we go? All right. But let me, because this is important stuff. This is such important stuff. Guys, they want you to stay focused on Trump when the world literally is spiraling out of control under the leadership of Joe Biden. Oh man, here they are. Let me, just quick headlines. Quick. And then we'll play this Laura Ingraham video. We may cut it short, Gabe. Okay, so now Democrats win majority in Wisconsin Supreme Court. Guys, how do we restore America? We've got to win these states. We've got to win races like this. Wisconsin, the home of progressivism, it's gotten worse. Remember, Scott Walker was the governor there, made wonderful reforms in Wisconsin. That's all gone bye-bye. Dan Kelly lost the race for the Supreme Court, so now the Supreme Court in Wisconsin is flipped. Guys, that is a swing state. Republicans either show up in 2024, make sure you ballot harvest or do whatever is legal there, or Republicans are going to lose that swing state. And sadly, I think Wisconsin is spiraling out of control. I thought after the Kenosha, Wisconsin massacre, Wisconsinites would wake up, but apparently not enough of them. So that is very, very troubling news. Let's see. Reports parents felt pressure to transition their kids reported declining mental health. So some parents that felt pressure to transform their kids when they saw mental health, guess what? Their kids got worse. They reported that their mental status got even worse. Parents had to Daily Wire. Parents were often pressured into transitioning their children to treat gender dysphoria, after which the parents reported worse mental health outcomes for their children. This, according to a new study. The data collected came from families with children who began to identify as trans between the ages of 11 and 21. The study found that the gender dysphoria impacted girls much more often than boys. 75% of the gender dysphoric children were females. Girls were also much more likely to socially transition or more in order to match their gender identity. A history of mental health issues was a defining trait of most children who later struggled with gender dysphoria. So they already had mental health issues. And you've got these evil people telling them they need to change their body parts. It's just sad. It's just sad. My computer is all of a sudden freezing up here. Oh, you have the radical in Chicago that won the mayoral's race. So they got rid of Lori Lightfoot and they hired another radical. Good luck to you, Chicagoans. I'm sorry, Republicans, you better leave Chicago. If there's any of you left, you better leave Chicago. You guys just got rid of a left-wing radical. And what did you do? You hired another left-wing radical. Hey, there's that city is going to hell with gasoline draws on. Republicans, leave. Republicans, leave. All right. Senators demand answers around Chinese spy balloon. We got into that, so I won't cover that any further. Basically, it's an outright lie that the Chinese spy balloon didn't capture a lot of data. They captured a lot of data. So the world is a lot safer. We're a lot less safe. Americans are a lot less safe with this guy that was selected and placed into the White House. Russia assumes presidency at the UN Security Council. So the UN sucks. I don't know why we pay for the UN to be here. Let them go to Russia for all I care. The Russia assumes presidency at the UN Security Council despite invading Ukraine. Yeah. All right. Worthless piece of crap organization. Anyway. All right. Now let's go ahead and close out with this. A couple of clips that I want to play that occurred on Laura Ingram's program last night. I think by far she had the best take. Again, she's I didn't realize this. I knew she was an attorney. I didn't know what kind, but she was a criminal defense attorney for white collar criminals. So she knows of what she speaks. And she had a guest, a former FEC chair that will play. Gabe will get both of those videos ready to go, or actually get the other one ready to go. Let's go ahead and run through what Laura Ingram says as we close out the podcast. Let me just mention this. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. We are on Apple. We're on Google. We're on Spotify, iHeart, wherever you go to get your podcast, we are there. Please find us, The Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe, guys. It'll really help us get our names out. It'll really help us grow. It'll help if you feel like we are helping you fight back against the left. Please subscribe. Please share this podcast. Please do the same with our social media. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. All right. Here is Laura Ingram on her show last night, her opening monologue that nailed what was happening with the Alvin Bragg indictment and then the Trump arraignment. I'm telling you, Democrats have just opened up a can of whoop ass. Republicans, let's pop that top and let's use that whoop ass. We got to go back at them. This is the only way they're going to learn. This is the only way that we're going to restore the rule of law in America, is to open up the can of whoop ass on Democrats. It is the only thing that they will get. And I'm not saying make up some trumped up charges. These people are corrupt as hell. Let's find what they did and let's take them down. I lock him up, Biden. Hunter Biden, Jimmy Biden, lock him up. Bill Clinton, he's got to have some non-disclosure agreement. Oh, actually, yes, he does. Oh my God, Paula Jones. If that's a crime now, thank you, Alvin Bragg. We really appreciate that. So Bill Clinton should be spending $800 and something thousand worth of time in I guess federal prison. Freaking idiot that guy is. Anyway, Laura Ingraham, let's go ahead and roll the tape.
I'm a former white-collar criminal defense lawyer. You might not have known that about me. And I read the entire 16-page indictment handed down by left-wing New York DA Alvin Bragg, and here's my reaction. Just another political hit job.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about.
Well, a blatantly false statement. Here's the only thing non-lawyers need to know about this case. If after the 2020 election, Donald Trump had announced that he was retiring from politics, Alvin Bragg would not have indicted him. Or let's say if after 2020, Trump had gradually evolved in his views and maybe became more like Romney or one of the Bushes. In that case, Alvin Bragg would not have indicted him. The real reason that Donald Trump was booked and fingerprinted today comes down to one simple fact. He has the wrong political views. Now, to the entire class of politicians and media figures who cheered the proceedings today, Donald Trump represents an existential threat. A threat to the regime that's run our country into the ground for decades, a threat to the credibility of the media that he calls out relentlessly. But most significant of all, another Trump term is a threat to the Biden family and their nonstop grift machine. Alvin Bragg is more like Alvin Bag because he's nothing but the bag man for the White House.
Let's pause right there real quick. We have to do this. Okay. So another Trump presidency. She's talking about Biden, and she's absolutely right. There's no doubt that Biden is sicking all of these departments on Trump. I think they're working in collusion with Joe Biden. There's no doubt about it. But we don't have to wait for Trump. This is my biggest issue with conservatives, all conservatives, and Republicans. We don't have to wait for Trump. For God's sakes, man, all of these people that have broken crimes, Alvin Bragg has opened up the door. He has opened up the can of whoop ass. Let's go ahead and use it. Stop waiting for Trump. Because if Trump doesn't get elected, and I'm sorry to tell you, he can win the nomination in a blowout. It does not mean he's going to win the general. First off, they're trying to destroy him. By 1,000 cuts. I think that's going to fall flat. But we just lost Wisconsin. I don't think Wisconsin is even a swing state anymore. I think that's gone. We've got the ballot issue. I think that's gone. So Republicans, get to work now. Do what the Tennessee state legislature did. Open up your own can of whoop ass. Stop waiting for 2024. Do what you can now. Go after the Democrats. When they do something wrong, punish them. Help them to understand we're not tolerating their left-wing radicalism anymore that is tearing this country apart. Let's go on with the video.
Hoping his reward comes when he runs for, let's say, governor as the Trump slayer. Yet right now, he's just the middleman for the DNC and an illicit scheme to interfere in the 2024 election cycle. In his astonishingly thin indictment, Bragg alleges that it was Trump who may have, now I say may have, attempted to interfere in the 2020 election or may have violated state election laws by allegedly ordering that former mistresses be paid off, then concealing the reimbursement of those payouts. Now, in a few moments, we're going to be talking with the former chair of the Federal Election Commission, who'll explain why the FEC decided against pursuing the case on similar grounds. But as we suspected last week, the question Bragg left everyone asking today is, where's the beef?
Here's where we're going to run into legal problems, because the indictment does not say what that second crime is, which is completely inexplicable to me. The entire point of an indictment is to tell the defendant, here's what you're charged with. He said federal campaign election law, but this is New York State. So he said state election law, but this is a campaign for president, which is a federal office, and there's literally one word about this in the statement of fact, said something about tax, but they didn't take a deduction. I have real questions about this.
It's disappointment. It's hard to imagine convincing a jury that they should get there.
I mean, obviously, you have Democrats on CNN saying, where's the beef? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Gabe, if you could, let's go ahead and just get the video ready of the Bradley Smith, which is he's the former FEC chair. And he explains, let me know when it's up and going here, Gabe. He explains basically how all of this is a facade, how people are misinterpreting this election campaigns law, campaign funding or whatever it is. It's totally bogus. This is why Alvin Bragg had to create a law. I want you to understand, Republicans, we don't have to wait until 2024. The left, the communist left, the revolutionary left, the only thing they understand is power. Like the Islamo-fascists, and I'm not saying they're Islamo-fascists, all right? But like the Islamo-fascists, the only thing the left understands is power. And we've got to use our political power. All right, so the video is up. Let's go ahead and roll the video.
Joining me now is a man who understands this. Brad Smith, former commissioner and chairman of the Federal Election Commission. Brad, a lot of people hear the acronym FEC and their eyes glaze over, but you're really in the spotlight with this case going on. And you said this is all based on a misunderstanding of federal campaign finance law. Can you explain it in layman's terms for our audience?
Sure. I think what the prosecutor, or, DA's attorney, let's start over. I think what the DA's theory is that the federal law says that anything that is made, any expenditure of money that is made for the purpose of influencing an election is therefore a political contribution. And thus, President Trump had to pay any funds to Stormy Daniels with campaign funds and report them as such. Okay, but the thing is, that key phrase is for the purpose of influencing an election. But that doesn't mean the subjective intent of the spender or the donor. In other words, if I think that it would be really useful to help President Trump win the election by making a contribution to the National Rifle Association, right? That's not a campaign expenditure despite my subjective intent. Or to put it in the candidate's term, if a candidate says, I need to have a really nice looking suit for the debate, and he spends a bunch of money on a suit he would not normally spend, that doesn't become a campaign expenditure. It's still a personal expenditure. Just looking at common sense wise, then let's before we get back.
Okay, let me stop it real quick. So here's what this guy is talking about when it comes to campaign finance, this campaign finance theory. All right, so if you're a regular everyday American like myself, and there's a politician that happens to be running for office. So if that politician makes a donation to the NRA, I can make a donation to the NRA. That politician goes out. So we're doing the same thing. All right. So it's subjective. The interpretation is subjective, but prosecutors don't go after this finance conspiracy law or campaign financing law if it's not objective, if it is not concrete. So if it's something that that a politician is doing that an average citizen would be doing and using their personal funds to do so, it's not a violation of campaign finance law. Politicians can donate to the NRA and even go make a speech there. I could donate to the NRA and possibly make a speech there. A politician could buy a good suit, a nice suit or a nice dress that might make him or her look better in front of the TV camera. I could buy a new suit that would help, me gain favor somewhere else, or have people look at me and say, wow, they look good. They look sharp. I want to hear what they have to say. See, I can do that same stuff. What I can't do is what a politician can do. If Donald Trump says, let's pay for an ad on Fox News, as a regular citizen, I'm not going to pay for an ad. You understand? It's all subjective. It has to be concrete. So Trump allegedly paying legal fees, in a non-disclosure agreement, that's something that politicians, businessmen, and perhaps everyday Americans do. He goes on.
To the technicalities of the law. So you're a person out there, you write your check for $20 or $50 or $500, whatever you can afford to a candidate. Do you think you're writing that check to pay hush money to someone? And the answer is no. You think you're writing that check to pay for campaign ads and that sort of thing. And that's what the law provides. The Supreme Court has long said you can't have a subjective standard in campaign finance. It needs to be objective. And so we look at it and we say, would a person who is not running for office do that? I mean, he might not buy a $2,000 suit, but he's going to buy clothes, so it's not a campaign expenditure. We might say he might not otherwise pay for his tooth whitening, but other people would, so it's not a campaign expenditure. What is a campaign expenditure? A TV ad that says, vote for me. Nobody buys that unless you're running for Congress.
So this is just not clear cut. I mean, so this is this doesn't even really come that close, but CNN has a rationale, Brad, as to why the FEC.
All right, we can stop it there. We can stop it there. The only thing that you and I wouldn't do is we wouldn't buy a campaign ad like he just mentioned that says vote for us, vote for Trump, vote for Jackson, vote for Carl. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not running for office. All right. But I think this guy broke it down as clear as day. That's as clear as it gets. And quite frankly, I think that was almost the only video needed all of last night, with the exception being Trump's speech in and of itself. But this is why the FEC did not prosecute Trump. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary that a normal, average, everyday American wouldn't or would do. All right. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Yeah, I know this was a little lengthy today, but I felt like we had a lot to cover. I hope that you gained a lot from this. Please don't forget to go to salemnow.com and check out Pardon by Grace. Again, if we can share the power of faith and forgiveness with those that need it most. Again, visit salemnow.com, purchase your DVD, and you can donate. When you purchase the DVD, a portion of it will go to Behind the Wire Ministry. So you will know that. So check out Pardon by Grace, salemnow.com. Don't forget My Pillow. Take advantage of the deal with My Pillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free. All you do is mention my name and the promo code, the radio listener square at the top of the page, mypillow.com, or give them a call at 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Follow me on social media, The Carl Jackson Show. And until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.